Guys, UFC 300 delivered, and my voice is gone. It's not gone. I can talk. I'm going to be able to make this video, but it definitely sounds different from my last video, which sounded different from my video before that. I've been screaming quite a bit tonight. UFC 300, it went well. I was so worried going into it. There's always that shot, that little tiny chance of, what if UFC 300 sucks? If you ask me, UFC 200 kind of sucked. Now, I didn't watch it live, okay, but I watched it in the build up to this on the free live stream. So I was always, I woke up today and I was just a little bit concerned. I was like, man, 300 could completely fail to deliver, but luckily it did not. And let me stop yapping. It's been a minute already. It's Birds in the Trap MMA. I didn't even say that. I'm here to talk about UFC 300, alright? Now, if you saw my last video, you would know that I had some pay-per-view troubles, okay? I purchased the pay-per-view 100% legally on ESPN. Everything went through, and it just would not play. It would not let it stream. It just always would say bye. I don't know if anyone else had that problem, but it was ridiculous. But nonetheless, let me quit yapping. All I missed was Bo Nickel, okay? Which is, I'm actually, in hindsight, I'm insanely thankful Bo Nickel was on the main card, because I would have missed, what would it be? Yuri and Rakic? I would have missed Yuri and Rakic. And I saw pretty much all of Charles and Arman. That fight, let me get to that in a second. So, well, I can talk about that now because I didn't watch Bo. But, so I didn't see the Bo Nickel fight, so I don't really give a fuck. But luckily it was the Bo Nickel fight. Now, with that being said, we got to talk about Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. Oliveira looked like he was fighting on peaceful mode. Looked like he was fighting in the backseat of his head. Looked like he was just fucking around way too much on the ground. I think Charles Oliveira has more of a stand-up advantage than he realizes. Justin Gaethje said that when Oliveira hit him, he felt zapped, like shocked, like electrocuted. I think Charles Oliveira has some special power, and he's got great Muay Thai. But he plays jiu-jitsu so much. I love Charles Oliveira, guys. I have my Oliveira shirt, okay? Hey, fuck anyone saying I'm a glazer. This is the one day I'm going to be a glazer. I have my Shama hoodie, okay? This is an Alex Pereira hoodie. I got my Charles Oliveira shirt. And Shama, alright? That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say to anyone hating on my glaze. This is the one time I'm doing it, okay? But, anyways, Charles did not look good, man, and neither did Arman, really. Arman didn't really impress me, but Charles is always going to be a tough out on the ground, and Arman just kind of did enough to out-hustle him, but didn't really set the gap too far apart, you know what I mean? But yeah, Charles did land some bombs on him. That is worth mentioning. Charles landed some bombs, but Arman ate them, and so I guess they weren't bombs, but nonetheless, Charles had a few striking moments, but didn't really explode or get anything off like I wanted him to. Alright, now let's talk. Oh, wait, I don't even have to talk about the BMF fight. I already made a video about it. Great, I can save my voice a little. Weili Zhang and Yan Xiaonan. Wow. Yan Xiaonan got like 4 knockdowns or something, but they only counted 1. So I guess the other ones must have been trips or slips, something like that. But, they fought, and Yan Xiaonan did do better than I thought. I did call it to go to a decision. I did pick Weili. I'll count up how I did on this card after I talk about the main event. But, yeah, not really much to say about Weili. She won. It was competitive, close. I think the women are slowly starting to close the gap on each other. WMMA, it's been around for like 10 years now. You know what I mean? They're starting to evolve a little bit. Now, I'm not saying they're able to finish the fight or like put on a BMF title fight. You know what I mean? Fuck that reporter that asked about a women's BMF belt. Oh my god. They can't put on a Gaethje Holloway fight, but they are getting closer in competition with each other, which I think is worth noting. Now, granted, it kind of does depend on who's getting the title shot, because I think of something like Tyler Santos and Valentina Shevchenko. That was a pretty competitive fight. Of course, Weili dominated her last opponent, but in my opinion, who was her last opponent? Lemos? Lemos, in my opinion, shouldn't have really been in there. But Yan Xiaonan arguably shouldn't have been in there either, but she made it kind of close. But Weili won, so kind of a low point on the card, honestly. I saw enough to know Weili won, and obviously she won the fight. But I can't lie, man. I was filming my last video, and I was just kind of taking in the BMF fight with Gaethje and Holloway, which I can't believe how much I've changed my tune on. The main event. Sorry, I just kind of bugged out for a second. We're keeping it in, though. This is a one-take thing. Alex Pereira. Jesus Christ, dude. Shama. Hey, it's fun to say, okay? Alex Pereira, he is setting... He made an example out of Jamal Hill. That's what he did. He made Jamal an example, and that's what he did with this, okay? Yo, I feel how Izzy fans felt when Izzy had the celebration over Pereira. And I hated it. I hated that whole vibe of the fight. I hate that fight, that card. UFC 287. Fuck UFC 287. But my boy Pereira, he rebounded, okay? Clearly, with the first round knockout over Jamal Hill, setting the example that, you know, everyone talked about how this fight could be competitive, you know, it could go to a decision, maybe even Jamal Hill winning. The odds were close. I think quite a few people were actually picking Jamal. And I couldn't blame them, but at the same time, excuse me while I take some water, Alex Pereira he has too many weapons, and they're all very effective. You know what I mean? The leg kicks, when they do land clean, they hit you so hard. And all the strikes on the feet are insanely hard. They're not the most accurate, but when they land flush, when he puts some power in it, you're going to sleep. And he's also quite dynamic. He's got great kicks, great knees, great head kicks, you know. But I expected Alex Pereira to kind of slowly, methodically outclass Jamal Hill, but in a competitive fight, until about the third round, you know, maybe even the second round, where Pereira starts to pick it up and maybe even TKOs him kind of against the fence. But a one shot, I mean, you could have stopped the fight as soon as Hill landed. He was not getting up from that. The eyes were in the back of his head. I feel for Jamal Hill. I like him, but I just like the way I feel with all of these fights, except for Charles and Arman. The way I feel with Gaethje, Holloway, and the main event is that, you know, I like all four of them involved. I like all four, but I just like the winners that much more, to where I'm celebrating the downfall. No, I'm not. I'm sounding like Jamal Hill level. I'm not enjoying their downfall, but I am satisfied to see the winners win. Okay, Jamal, he was talking a big game, and I didn't really think he had the credentials to back it up. I think Pereira did. Going into this fight, obviously, Pereira's kickboxing accolades, I think they kind of shit on Jamal Hill's UFC career. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that as far as striking. Now, as far as who's done more in the UFC, well, actually now it's kind of Alex. Alex kind of been around for a minute. He's got a title defense now, 3 title wins. He's looking pretty good. But let's talk about the prelims. The prelims were awesome, man. Yuri Prochazka. I was so happy. Yuri Prochazka got the win. Let's fucking go. And it was a Yuri finish, too. I expected Yuri to bring all the... You know, I kind of feel like I have a good Yuri impression. But I don't want to do it because my voice is strained now, and whenever I pop out a little impression, I get a comment talking about how it's shit. So I'm saving it for myself and my friends. But Yuri was in the fight. And yeah, he won. I picked Yuri to win. I know a lot of people were picking Rakic to just kind of grapple and decision him, but I think the bonuses really like made him not want to do that, and he was having success on the feet. He kept it on the feet for a long time, but eventually Yuri, after getting his leg beat up and kind of knocked around a little bit at points. I mean, Rakic was winning the whole fight, to be fair, but you know, Yuri just put a really really good 1-2 on him, and now Yuri has 30 wins. Holy shit, Yuri's got a crazy record, bro. Alex has a crazy record too. Guys, Alex Pereira has double-digit wins now. Funny. Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. Sterling won. Alright, not really much to talk about here. Sterling did have moments on the feet that impressed me. He was throwing some, as you know, Lucas Trace would say, he was throwing some big meaty hooks. I just realized I kind of look like I'm cooked in my camera. I am. I have been up for so long. I'm tired. My throat is gone, and UFC 300 just happened, and I'm on the dopamine crash right now. So I'm cooked. I look cooked. I know, but we're here to talk. All right. Yeah, Aljamain Sterling won very dominantly. I will say that, but not dominant enough for a 10-8. All right. Calvin Kattar really didn't look that great, but he also really didn't do too much. Now, don't get me wrong, he didn't do too much because of Sterling dominating him on the ground, but, you know, no impressive moment. How many strikes from him? 19? 8 significant strikes over 3 rounds. Not a good look. If you put me in the octagon with an Aljamain Sterling that weighs 130 pounds, make him cut to 130 to get in the octagon with me right now, just getting in there after this, I would land more than 8 significant strikes. I don't care what flack, if any, no one might even get to this point. I am willing to make that claim, okay? Fuck anybody who disagrees. If you don't feel that about yourself, you are not confident. Aljo could prove me wrong, and I would humbly accept defeat because he's a MMA UFC champion, and I'm not. But still, I feel like I would land more, but Sterling should be able to submit me in the first minute, right? I don't know, man. I think I'd be a tough out. Oh my god, what am I doing? I'm talking for too long. Holly Holm versus Kayla Harris. Holly Holm. Just one of the women's fights on the card, and Kayla Harrison, she looked good throughout the whole fight. Holly Holm pretty much got nothing off, 7 total strikes to 68. Yeah, Kayla Harrison actually dominated her. Holly Holm did not really look like she had that dog in her. She didn't really look like she wanted to be there. Not a good look for Holly Holm. I feel bad for the losers of this card, guys. I usually don't feel this bad because they're all, or not all, but some of them are just prelim guys, and you're like, they'll be back or they won't. But these are all like really recognizable UFC names. So it sucks to see all these people lose on the same night, but you know, it is what it is because everyone else won on the same night, right? Davison Figueiredo got the submission in the second round. Not a very impressive finish in my opinion. He was kind of stinking it up on the ground for 3 minutes before he got it. And don't get me wrong, it was in, but Cody just kind of tapped right away. Cody looked good on the feet though, against someone who's at Figgy's level. You know, I think he could do well with someone who's maybe just out of the rankings, but isn't an up-and-coming prospect. You know what I mean? Like a Peyton Talbot, maybe even Cameron Simon would fuck up Cody Garbrandt, right? But fuck, who's a good fight for Cody? I don't know, right? But throw Cody back down the rankings, put him against whoever number 27 is, and he'll probably win. Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. I got this one wrong. This one kind of sucks to got wrong, but, Bobby Green looked really good. The boxing, Jim Miller just didn't have an answer for it. I wish I could have seen that coming because I picked Jim Miller, and this does not surprise me at all, Jim Miller, he is old. He does win his fights, but he is old. And Bobby Green, don't get me wrong, he's no spring chicken, but he is able to box really well with his hands at his hips. Alright, it's what he does. And he talks to you and it drains you. And I think that's kind of what happened. Alright, Jessica Andrade, Marina Rodriguez. Man. That's what I think of that fight. Jalen Turner versus Hanato Moicano. I picked Jalen Turner, but I am so happy for Moicano, okay? Because Moicano is an MMA YouTuber, which I like to consider myself, and obviously there are many other MMA YouTubers that we all enjoy, and Moicano is in the gang, kinda. And I'm saying that as an outsider. I'm not really in the gang, but I make videos, so it's alright. I make MMA content, so I'm in the gang enough. So, me and Moicano, we're kind of the same. But yeah, the grappling, so effective. Jalen Turner cannot defend takedowns for his life. Jalen Turner is such a physical specimen. You would expect him to be able to. No, doesn't happen. He just gets taken down, and or maybe Moicano's grappling is that effective. It could be that. Okay, I don't know for sure, but I kind of went through this in a weird order. That's what we're ending the video on here, guys. But yeah, UFC 300 was fucking awesome. I enjoyed it so much. A lot of people I enjoy won. No one I really hate won. Although I don't necessarily love Armand. I just don't like Armand that much, personally. If you have a problem with that, fuck you. Because I think he's kind of a prick. And I think if you don't see that, if you like Armand, you probably just haven't seen what I've seen. That Bobby Green shit, not cool. But I'm rambling at this point. This video is 18 minutes, and yeah, I gotta shut the fuck up. Oh, let me count up my pick rate real quick, okay? Let me pause this recording real quick while I do this so I don't look like an idiot just counting these up. I went 8-3 on UFC 300. I didn't predict Andrade and Rodriguez or Holm and Kayla Harrison. And you would know that if you saw my Instagram or my video yesterday. But yeah, they're just too much of a risk, in my opinion. wmma, it can kind of be a coin flip. So, and I don't want it to mess up my prediction rates. Although I will note that if I were to pick them, I would have got them right. Because that's just kind of what I was leaning. And with that being, the UFC just announced Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Oh my god, I have to finish this and make another video. Holy shit, bye guys.